Hi everyone, welcome into Siren Records Monterey, and it's Fresh Catch Friday. We're probably going to run into a little bit of like bleed through noise because we have the Cali Roots Festival happening just down the street at the fairgrounds. So anyway, I'm going to try to go quick as I can for you because I know we're all anxious to start our Memorial Day weekend. Now this week, instead of having picks of the week, I thought I've got two big box sets that I thought I'll just kind of get those out of the way for us first of all and let you know about these, just kind of to get the bulk away from things. First up, there is Abba, and this is a 10 LP box set, and it's just they've established themselves, you know, as one of the greatest pop groups of all time. They dominated the charts throughout the 70s and 80s. They're a Swedish four-piece. They sort of redefined the boundaries of pop with each new album that they put out, kind of, you know, had a progression. Just, you know, they're the fabric of the culture. This vinyl box set, it collects each of those releases, 10 of them. Including 2021's album Voyage, that was their kind of return. Plus, there's a bonus disc of tracks that featuring the singles Gimme 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 and Fernando. Anyway, it's 10 LPs. They're on 180 gram vinyl, and it's pretty hefty, as you can see. Those are everything. So, yeah, it's all there. And another big box set out this week is, of course, Nirvana, Nevermind. Whoops, don't want the rest of the vinyl to fall over here. This is the 30th Super Deluxe 8 LP box, and through Geffen. Contains 8 LPs on 180 gram vinyl, showcasing the newly remastered album from the original analog tapes, along with 4 complete concerts on the Nevermind tour. That was Amsterdam, Melbourne, Australia, Tokyo, and Del Mar, California. So also included is a first ever 7-inch for Endless Nameless with B-sides Even in His Youth and Aneurysm. And there's a 40-page hardcover book with unreleased photos in here too. So another one that is just, you know, very, very super deluxe. And yeah, very sought after. And so those big boxes are here for us now. Okay, so let's get through this. And first up, there's a lot of reissues, but yeah, there wasn't anything super exciting this week that I thought, oh, I got to have that for my pick. So that's why I thought we would just do the box sets straight away. Okay, so now this is cool. This is Erykah Badu, and it's called But You Can't Use My Phone. It's on Motown for the first time on purple vinyl. It was originally released in 2015. The mixtape takes influenced from hip-hop, R&B, jazz, and art rock with lyrics that focus on themes of communication, notably through phones, with lyrics that touch upon this idea of missed connections, call waiting, and answering machines, stuff like that. Anyway, it's on 150 gram, and it's limited shades of purple vinyl series. So that is a pretty nice one there. Okay, then we have, this is Beechwood Sparks, the Sandbox Sessions. It's not a very slick cover, but it's by Curation Records. It's the 20th anniversary. It's a 3-song 12-inch of recently discovered studio recordings from the classic 6-piece Beechwood Sparks lineup, finally pressed onto vinyl. It was recorded by Rick Parker at his Sandbox studios near the beginning of the new millennium. The band had previously worked with Rick on their debut single on Bump, and these recordings capture what was going on in Los Angeles in the late 1990s, along before the Cosmic American Music Revival. More than a collectible record, they wanted to release something for the DJs and clubs and on radio airplay. It's limited to 500 copies. It's got 123, 123, Time, and Canyon Ride are the tracks on this. All right, this next up is Chuck Berry, Toronto Rock and Roll Revival 1969, and this is on Sunset Boulevard Records. It's a complete concert, mastered from analog tapes. There was really no shortage of historic rock festivals going on in 1969, from the highs of Woodstock to the lows of Altamont. Meanwhile, interest was building on another front. A full-fledged 1950s rock and roll revival was brewing, and the idiom's pioneers were experiencing a renaissance. So they were no longer viewed as kind of over-the-hill relics. They stood at this a real point where they were influencing every, up and coming new stuff. So, they were kind of being held in a higher regard. So this was held, the Toronto Rock and Roll Revival, 1969. It was held at the University of Toronto's Varsity Stadium. And that afternoon, the father of rock and roll, Chuck Berry here, returned to lead everyone into the next decade. And after decades of inferior releases, for the first time, this historical concert is presented in its entirety. And it includes School Days, Carol, Memphis, Nadine, and 10 other tracks. It's two discs. The first disc one is on opaque red vinyl, and disc 2 is on translucent blue vinyl. So that's there for you now. Finally, a legit copy of that. Next up, Bismarck, One Romancer on Apollon Records. Okay, labeled as some of the heaviest band by some. Some people say they're the heaviest band from Norway's west coast. I think they're from Bergen in Norway. And sludgy riff, mantras, psychedelic escapades. They've been stirring it up in the Norwegian underground for like a long time. Their debut album, though, finally came out in 2018. It was inspired by an array of genres and styles, real amp melting stoner doom to 60s and 70s psychedelic rock, Norwegian black metal they grew up with, Middle Eastern folk music is infused in their stuff. So their music alternates between intense, fuzzed out heaviness and clean atmospheric drones. It's got lyrics that expound upon Western esotericism, something like that, altered states of consciousness, and mystical apocalypse. So this is their second album, On a Romancer, originally released in 2020. It's even darker and harder and more adventurous than their debut. Limited edition of 350 copies, 180-gram translucent smoke vinyl, and there's a lyric sheet in there too. Only 350 though, that's not a lot to go around. Okay, next up is these things from Bright Eyes. Now, I guess they've done these 3 EPs, and each EP has 6 songs that, this is all on Dead Oceans, all 3 of these, and they're like these companion pieces to specific albums. They're all on opaque gold vinyl, and so it's the desire to celebrate their sonic bounty that first got Conor Oberst and the band excited about the idea of these comprehensive reissues. Okay, so that's where 9 companion EPs come in. Okay, now so far this is 3 different ones that we've got here. And as Oberst puts it, it's a supplement for the primary reissues, 1 6-track EP per reissued album, each featuring 5 reworked songs from that album. The thing was, he wanted them to sound very different from the originals. They wanted to really mess with them in a substantial way. Plus, one cover that felt of the era with that when that particular album was made, a song that meant something to the band at the time. So to help the EPs come alive, they called a lot of their friends like Phoebe Bridgers, M. Ward, and Katie Crutchfield from Waxahachie. I believe that's Conor Oberst's girlfriend. But anyway, so here you go. This first one is called A Collection of Songs and recorded 1995 to 1997. A companion OPA, whatever OPA means, I don't know, but all right, so there you go. That's the first one. The second one is Fevers and Mirrors, a companion, and Letting Off the Happiness, a companion. Okay, so again, these come to us on Dead Ocean. I believe sounds like there's going to be 9 of them. That's maybe like the first 3. Okay. Let's see. Next up, we have Decapitated. This is called Cancer Culture and from Nuclear Blast. And Poland is where they come from. They're back with their 8th studio album. Cancer Culture stands as a bold next step into one of death metal's premier outfits here. Confident, expansive, and utterly aggressive. After all these years, Decapitated remain one of the best bands to ever do it. Vinyl is gatefold, single disc, and limited to 1,500 copies worldwide. You can get it on clear with black splatter or silver, and that will be denoted by the sticker. It will tell you which one. I believe that's the silver, and this is the black splatter. All All right. Then we have yes, another Def Leppard album called Diamond Star Halos. 2 LPs on UME. Now, I guess Diamond Star Halo, that's a T-Rex lyric from Bang a Gong that they borrowed to name this record. It's a new album since their chart-topping self-titled record in 2015, so their first in 7 years. And it features 15 tracks, including the anthemic stadium-ready singles Kick and Fire It Up, with guest vocals from Alison Krauss on This Guitar and Lifeless. So again, as I said, the album title references T-Rex Bang a Gong, and it also has nods to T-Rex, David Bowie, and Mott the Hoople across the album. 2 LP black vinyl, 180 gram. It features this black and white cover with a color logo and packaged in a gatefold sleeve. Okay, then we have, this is Doja Cat, and this is Planet Her, explicit lyrics. There's your little warning. Okay, it's on RCA Records. This is the 3rd album from American rapper, originally released in 2021. The album titled after a fictional planet created by Doja Cat, and it kind of sees her experimenting with sounds that were new and unfamiliar to her in an attempt to kind of depart from the mainstream of trends that were expected from pop artists, okay, at that time. So to further explain the name, she likened her music style shift in the record to traveling outside of the earth and into outer space. So the album features a few guest appearances from people like Young Thug and Ariana Grande, The Weeknd, JID, and SZA. Doja Cat, she also is the executive producer alongside her frequent collaborator Yeti Beats, a record that explores and incorporates a wide variety of genres. Planet Her is an amalgamation of pop, R&B, hip-hop styles. Lyrically, it touches on several topics and themes focusing on femininity and solitude, romance, and sexual relationships. So that's a reissue out there from Doja Cat. Next up is Fats Domino, All-Time Greatest Hits, and this is on the Curb label. 13-track collection, which features some of Fats Domino's biggest hits, including Whole Lotta Lovin', I'm Walking to New Orleans, Blue Monday, Blueberry Hill, My Blue Heaven, and I Wanna Walk You Home. So, all together on one. This is Ronnie Foster, Two-Headed Freak on Blue Note Classic Series. He caught the air of Blue Note Records after appearing on Grant Green's album called Alive. And let's see, then he recorded his own Blue Note debut with Two-Headed Freak, including covers of Al Green and Wilson Pickett, along with originals including Mystic Brew, which later a Tribe Called Quest would later sample on their hip-hop classic Electric Relaxation. So this Blue Note Classic vinyl edition is stereo, all analog, mastered by Kevin Gray from the original master tapes, and pressed on 180 gram vinyl at Optimal. Okay, this is Aretha Franklin, Amazing Grace. The Atlantic Catalog Group is the label that puts it out. It's the 3rd live album by Aretha Franklin. It was originally released in 1972 by Atlantic Records, and it ultimately sold over 2 million copies in the United States alone and earned a double platinum certification. So this stands as the biggest selling disc of Aretha's entire 50-plus year recording career. Think about that. I mean, she's had a lot of good stuff, but this is her top seller. The double album was recorded in the New Temple Missionary Baptist Church in Los Angeles during January of 1972, and it won the 1973 Grammy Award for Best Soul Gospel Performance. The LP is the biggest selling live gospel album of all time. Limited edition, white vinyl for you now. Okay, this is the Frighteners, always on Daptone Records, and the Nightmares, the Frighteners singer Dan Klein's unfortunate passing at the age of 33. The band agreed to keep the promise that he asked them, continuing to make music together. He wanted them to carry on. So part of that promise has been made, come to fruition here on Always, thanks to the vocal stems that they captured in this golden period. Dan Klein's otherworldly voice lives on, giving them raw material they needed to complete an entire album's worth of new original music. So with that, they returned to the studio and painstakingly conceptualized, tracked and retracked, and mixed them into this complete record. So with their beloved friend singing lead, heavy, heavy drums, raw guitar, ethereal keys, and fortify this kind of soulful backdrop for Dan Klein's otherworldly vocal performance. Now we have Liam Gallagher. Come on, you know. This pulsates with traits that have made Liam such an iconic figure. It's kind of funny. The cover here, he's photoshopped in the middle of the crowd, which is kind of funny. Now you can get this on black vinyl or on clear vinyl, which has like kind of a different looking sleeve. It's just the record inside the plastic with the photo in the backdrop. But anyway, the whole thing of it is it's a very raucous rock and roll anthem. The single here, it's topped with his signature snarl, and it's also a strong step forwards in terms of both attitude and audio. Musically, it's layered in unexpected sonic touches, surging Motown kind of tinged gospel backing vocals, shrieking saxophone from Ezra Koenig of Vampire Weekend, who actually does contribute to a few songs on the LP. And it's got vintage Moog synthesizers heightening the sonic surround of the whole thing. Liam's lyrics also come from a fresh place. Rather than being combative, his words brim with kind of positivity and joy at being reunited with friends, family, and fans. So as he openly admits, he's sick of being tough. So it's a new road for Liam Gallagher. All right. And if that weren't enough, they're also giving us Liam Gallagher Down by the River Thames, also through Warner Brothers. This originally streamed on December 5th of 2020. The show became one of the most memorable performances of the lockdown era, so Liam followed the precedent set by the Sex Pistols and the Clash and decided to hit the River Thames armed with a boatload of attitude. Phenomenal live band and an arsenal of classic songs. Acclaim included a 4-star review that declared the show to be a reminder of why the young Gallagher is now the fans' favorite. 16 tracks on limited edition double orange vinyl. Okay, now we have the Get Up Kids live at the Granada Theater, and this is Vagrant Records, the 25th anniversary. At one point, the Get Up Kids made it official they were breaking up. More than 10 years of recording, touring, and being one of the most influential bands ever. When you hear about the success of the emo scene, it's important to remember that these Kansas boys were out there paving the way before it ever hit the pages of Spin or Rolling Stone. So this live album is nothing more than a greatest hits album once you kind of look at the track selection. It seems rather fitting that the last release from this band would have been live. It's a great way to say goodbye. It's 2 LPs, limited tracks. It's like translucent turquoise with red burgundy splatter. There's 900 copies to celebrate that 25th. Okay, this is an odd little piece here. This is Jalen. It's the Embryo EP from Planet Mu. Jalen is more, she's like a techno mode kind of an artist. Still very much unique take on footwork, you know, like a Chicago based, and she's from Gary, Indiana originally, but I think more Chicago based. Footwork, again, like the last thing we need is another genre, but she's kind of less of a musician than a one-woman genre, I guess. She's absorbing and repurposing whatever dark energies she finds. It's very technical, very electronic, very techno. It's a real art piece, I would call it that. It's a strange one. Okay, so next up are some reissues from King Diamond. And these are all coming to us from Metal Blade. Okay, so first of all, this one is Fatal Portrait, and released in 1986. It's the debut from King Diamond. Unusually not a concept album, although 5 of the songs link to a form of a ghost story, a theme that would be returned to again and again over subsequent releases. King Diamond's previous band was Merciful Fate, and it was like an overly satanic and occult, and King Diamond material is more fantastical and conceptual, though still very dark themes throughout. So when King's original band split up, Merciful Fate having released 2 genre-defining masterpieces, Melissa and Don't Break the Oath, he formed King Diamond along with guitarist Michael Denner and bassist Timmy Hansen. The lineup on Fatal Portrait was completed by guitar virtuoso Andy LaRocque and drummer Mickey D, who later joined Motorhead. 180 gram black vinyl includes a lyric sheet insert and MP3 download card. Okay, and another one from that reissue is called The Eye. It's also King Diamond. It's the 5th studio album by this Danish heavy metal band, King Diamond, released in 1990. It continues to feature a major storyline like other King Diamond albums, though it is told differently. His 2 prior concept albums had been told from the perspective of the protagonists. This one is told from the view of the narrator. The themes of Christian atrocity with the persecution of alleged witches and sexual abuse against nuns are present. 180 gram black vinyl again includes the lyric sheet insert and an MP3 download card. Okay, and then we have the one that's called Them, King Diamond Them on Metal Blade. These are all Metal Blade. Released in 1988. This is the 3rd King Diamond album and the first album to feature guitarist Pete Black and bassist Hal Patino. It is the first of 2 fictional concept albums about King and his mentally ill grandmother, the second of these being Conspiracy. King falls into a harrowing descent into madness via his grandmother and the voices in the house of Amon, known to the listener only as Them. Whereas King's previously band Merciful Fate was the overtly satanic and occult, King Diamond material, again, more fantastical and conceptual, though still dark themes throughout. So 180 gram black vinyl, lyric insert, and MP3 download card. Now, I think we should talk about Kendrick Lamar. This is the CD. It's on Interscope, and this is called Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. 5th studio album from the American rapper Kendrick Lamar. After 4 albums with the label, the double album serves as Lamar's final project with them, and of which he was one of the flagship artists. Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers is a testament to a complicated soul with a lot more work to do, and the result is a mix of very expansive ambition and messy incoherence, tumbling down dark roads with no clear exit strategy. In that way, it's a kitchen sink kind of a record about real life with all its surprise twists and turns. Now, there's no date for the vinyl on this so far, but, you know, a lot of people love Kendrick Lamar very much, very excited, and so it's here on CD. Forgot to tell you guys, you can get that Def Leppard on cassette too. It's available that way. Sorry, don't want to start coughing on you. Next up, Gabor Lazar. This is Boundary Object. It's a collection of 8 real-time recorded, unedited tracks made in Budapest and Prague between 2020 and 2022 using a self-designed compositional interface. It's Gabor Lazar's 2nd album for Planet Mu, following Source in 2020. Okay, then we have The Locust, New Erections on Epitaph. Vinyl LP here. New Erections is the 3rd studio album by punk band The Locust. It was originally released in 2007 via Anti with their 2nd album for the label. So this is a limited edition on transparent smoke vinyl. Okay, this is Brother Jack McDuff, Moon Rappin'. This is on Blue Note. He's the organist, Brother Jack McDuff, and he came to Blue Note and made one of the most ambitious albums of his career here with Moon Rappin'. Released in 1970, it features 5 funky spaced out originals, including Obligato, which would later be sampled by A Tribe Called Quest as the foundation of 2 of their classic hip-hop tracks, Scenario and Check the Rhyme. This Blue Note Classic vinyl edition is stereo, all analog, mastered by Kevin Gray from the original master tapes and pressed on 180 gram vinyl at Optimal. Okay, now we have some Merciful Fate reissues. Okay, so this is the band. Remember, we were just talking about King Diamond leaving. Well, when they split up, King Diamond went on to do his own thing, but these are the original, his original band. Okay, first up, we have Don't Break the Oath, classic album of theirs. second album of theirs, the album by this Danish heavy metal band, Merciful Fate. This was released in 1984. The style that Merciful Fate employed on Don't Break the Oath resembled a mixture of heavy metal with progressive elements, and lyrically preoccupied with Satan and the occult, and distinguished by King Diamond's theatrical falsetto voice. Although very influential to the future black metal bands due to its lyrical content, the music itself is more reminiscent of traditional heavy metal. Now you can get this on black or on yellow and red marbled vinyl, and the stickers will tell you this is the black one, and this one will tell you that that one is the yellow and red marbled one. And also from Merciful Fate, their other thing that's considered, you know, one of their, well, their masterpiece here is Melissa, and this is the debut studio album. It was released in 1983. It was the first album released by Roadrunner Records. This was also the first Merciful Fate effort to get an official release in the United States through Megaforce Records, as the self-titled EP was highly sought after on import, and the BBC sessions were only available on bootleg tapes. So Melissa has been identified as one of the earliest examples of extreme metal, and is often considered to be a major influence on the then developing thrash metal, black metal, death metal genres. This one is yellow with black streaks. And then we have the self-titled, yes, okay, they, you know, again, they're a Danish band from Copenhagen. They formed in '81 by vocalist King Diamond and guitarist Hank Sherman. They influenced by progressive and hard rock with lyrics dealing with Satan and the occult. Merciful Fate were part of the first wave of black metal into the early mid-1980s. Many of the bands from this movement went on to influence later black metal musicians in the 1990s, particularly in Norway. Merciful Fate EP is the band's debut, issued in 1982 on 180 gram black vinyl with a lyric insert and an MP3 download card. And lastly, we have Return of the Vampire, and this is a compilation album of rare demo tracks by Merciful Fate, recorded before their first official release in 1982. It was released in 1992 by Roadrunner Records, 180 gram black vinyl lyric insert, and an MP3 download card come with that. Okay, then we have Olivia Newton-John, Physical, on Primary Wave. Now, this is a brand new vinyl edition of her hit record, Physical, in celebration of its 40th anniversary. So the iconic pop stars album includes the timeless tracks Physical and Landslide, and was produced by Olivia's longtime friend, songwriter, singer, musician, John Farrar. Now, Physical was the #1 single of the 1980s and the 10th biggest single of all time. It went on to sell more than 2 million copies. This includes a 24 by 36 poster. That was such a big album for her in the 80s. Good Lord. Nightmares on Wax remixed To Freedom on Warp Records. Seeking some refuge after a decade on the road, and the pandemic lockdown proved a unique time for a passion project for George Evelyn to remix a record. So teaming up with talent both young and old, Remix to Freedom seems some brilliant takes on 2 tracks from 2021's Shout Out to Freedom. So it's really just kind of a single here, but they've done some real work on this, and gotta love Nightmares on Wax, so great. Okay, then we have Nuclear Bubble Wrap, Problematic, on Needle Juice Records. Problematic is 45-minute genre-hopping roller coaster ride through the hurricane of bullshit that has terrorized us for our entire lives. The experience of growing up in a miserable world on the verge of falling apart. Corporations paper over cruelty with fake smiles. The people who should have been doing something about it decades ago avoid responsibility. So this is angry punk rock. And here for you now. Oh, and this is also on green and white colored. It's color in color LP. So I'm not quite sure what they mean by that. If it's like kind of a blob or a swirl or whatever. But anyway, it's colored. All right. This is just Pennywise Full Circle, the anniversary edition on Epitaph. It's the 25th anniversary edition. It's pressed on silver with black splatter vinyl. We all know what Pennywise is. There's no need to sit and chat about it. Okay, this is Running Wild, the first years of piracy version. It's on Sanctuary Records. German heavy metal legends, Running Wild, led by the I can't even speak. Enigmatic frontman Rock and Rolf Kasparek. They single-handedly invented the pirate metal genre with their 1987 breakthrough album Under Jolly Roger. So after the Death of Glory tour wound up, there was a change of members in the band's ranks. So they headed back to the studio in 1991 and re-recorded their biggest tracks from their first 3 albums. The result was the first years of piracy, and thus closed the first chapter in Running Wild's career. This is on limited edition red vinyl. This early years compilation is back on LP for the first time in 30 years. A lot of heavy metal kind of stuff, from the Danish stuff to the German stuff to the Norwegian stuff. Okay, this is cool. This is our beloved Ty Segall. He's doing the Whirlybird soundtrack, and this is on Drag City. So he meets a new non-rock challenge head-on with this soundtrack of music for the documentary film Whirlybird. It's a variety of synth sounds, electric keyboards, drums, percussion, and saxophone. And oh yeah, a little bit of guitar there for you too. From this shifting impressionist counterpart, instrumental music that dialogues and serves to frame the film's compulsive themes and images. So it's a different thing, but you know, Ty Segall's been working on stuff like that, like some TV scoring and things. So he's kind of branching out and doing new stuff. But anyway, this was cool. Kind of like anything Ty Segall does, you know. He's very talented. This is the Sex Pistols, the original recordings. Of course, it's got explicit lyrics. You'd expect that. Covers a historic period when the band were rarely out of the news or the charts. The collection soundtracks the period and features key singles Anarchy in the UK, God Save the Queen, Pretty Vacant, and Holidays in the Sun. It's essential tracks from Nevermind the Bollocks, further originals and covers from the Great Rock and Roll Swindle soundtrack album, and some essential B-sides. So it's available on this 2LP, 180-gram black vinyl. Okay, this is the Shout Out Louds. It's called House, and this is, the label is Bud Fox Recordings, 6th album from the Swedish indie band. It's a rousing, propulsive collection of songs featuring moments of great beauty and emotions, as well as more straightforward stompers. It's produced by Bjorn Ytling of Peter Bjorn and John fame. The album elegantly fuses sweetly romantic indie with driving post-punk rhythms. It's a finely crafted exploration of longing and love songs gone wrong. Not love songs gone wrong, but just love gone wrong. Anyway, this house, it will pull at your heartstrings in very delightful ways. So, shout out louds. Now we have Scotty Sire, Mood Swings. This is on Fearless Records. Scotty Sire initially rose to fame building a following on Vine before transitioning his content to YouTube, and where he's amassed over 450 million views on his channel alone. So in 2020, he signed to Fearless Records and has been hard at work on his label debut here, Mood Swings. He says it's all about trying to find like a balance between music and social media. Okay, you know, he does a lot of stuff. He's a vlogger, you know, he's kind of one of these people that's all over the place, but very social media like ingrained. So it's pop music, you know. It's on canary yellow vinyl. Okay, this is Some Girls, Heaven's Pregnant Teens. This is on Epitaph. First and only studio album from California punk band Some Girls. It was their last recording as a band before their breakup in 2007. They play blasted, bleated, quick-moving songs that feature odd harmonic-driven, repetitive feedback buzz, and they have this vocalist who probably lost his voice after screaming, you know, at every show. So depending on what you've been listening to for the past 10 years, this will either lead you to start playing this kind of music again, or send you, you know, digging in your crates for something else. This is on limited edition black and gold vinyl. So, yeah, it's kind of a landmark album in a way that it's, you know, a name check and for them at the time. But this is not really going to. I doubt if you're going to be listening to that over and over and have it be like a real centerpiece in your collection. Kind of doubt that. Before this falls over. Whoops. Let me just adjust my lighting. There we go. Okay. Okay, this Max Richter, Invasion music from the original TV series. Decca is the label. He provides the stellar score for this Apple TV series Invasion. Part of, you know, he's saying that part of scoring any project is a process of discovering the musical language that is going to like feed the viewer along into a world that is kind of bound to the show. He needed to invent several musical worlds, multi-dimensionality, and it's reflected in this eclecticism of the score, echoing the psychological dynamics of the show. So that was his aim to do this. Gosh, there's so much like content all over the place. Apple TV, Hulu, the regular cable shows and regular TV. It's everywhere. I don't know how anybody is supposed to keep up with all of it. This is Stars from Capitol Hill. The Last Gang Records is the label. Stars return with announced their new album here from Capitol Hill. Their first installment is a 2-song pack titled Pretenders Snowy Owl, with focus single Pretenders showcasing their signature hook-heavy dance-infused anthems that the band has been known for over 20 plus years. Stars continue to prove themselves some of the finest musical storytellers in the country, moving through life with their fans. I guess this is just black vinyl too. Okay. Okay, now this is Tears for Fears Tipping Point, but this is the picture disc. We talked about this when it first came out before. This is on the Concord label. And it is the 7th studio album by the English pop rock band Tears for Fears. Released in February of 2022 through Concord. It's their band's first studio album since Everybody Loves a Happy Ending, released almost 18 years prior to this. But now you can get it on a picture disc. That's why it's in the new release pile. Okay, so this is the Mark Turner Quintet. It's called Yam Yam. It's on Anagram Music. For the first time ever, the seminal 1994 album from the Mark Turner Quartet is now available on 180-gram audiophile double vinyl. It was recorded in 1994 at RPM Studios in New York City. It features Mark Turner on the tenor sax, Kurt Rosenwinkel on guitar, Brad Melgio on piano, Larry Grenadier on bass, and George Rossi on drums. Apparently people have been waiting on that, and it's a big deal. Okay, Tyrannosaurus Rex, Strange Orchestra on Easy Action. The Rarities album of the first incarnation of Mark Bolan's Tyrannosaurus Rex, featuring Steve Peregrine Took. The first LP collects all the tracks from the early first 2 sessions from the summer of 1967. The second LP collects rare and unused alternate versions recorded over the following 2 years until the departure of Took. Deluxe gatefold sleeve with unpublished photos and liner notes. It's kind of a cool piece. Okay, then we have various artists. This is Lovers Rock, the soulful sound of romance reggae. This is on Trojan Records. Now, the first British reggae subgenre to achieve success and influence the music of Jamaica, it was Lovers Rock. It was dominating force in the UK scene from the mid-70s through to the close of the 80s. So it was developed largely as a counterpoint to the more militant style of roots reggae, and it was a very romantically themed genre. It was heavily influenced by styles of US R&B and predominantly soulful Jamaican rocksteady sound of the 60s. So despite the style achieving mainstream success with a number of major UK chart hits, Lovers Rock received not much attention in the mainstream media until the screening of Steve McQueen's award-winning 2020 BBC series Small Axe, the highlight of which was an aptly titled episode that paid tribute to the style and the impact upon British culture. Since then, interest in the genre has continued to grow internationally, and it reflects some the trends that come in this very nicely packaged 2 LP gatefold album. It has 25 of the most popular and influential recordings of the style. The collection includes works by these legendary British performers. I would say that the cream of the crop there being Gregory Isaacs, Dennis Brown, John Holt, and Sugar Minott, with its focus firmly on the best love romantic reggae sounds of the 70s and 80s. Its essential collection of dance floor favorites provides the most authentic representation of lovers rock sounds yet that you've ever seen. Okay, and then, gosh, you know what? I don't have them out here. They didn't put it in my pile, but there's these two various artists called Pinup Girls Volume 1, Too Hot to Handle, and Pinup Girls Volume 2, Not Easy to Get. And what they are is like they're 20-track colored vinyl compilations, bringing together this mix of female performers and movie stars from the 50s, often referred to as pinup girls. Now, the album opener for Volume 1 is one of the hottest songs of the 50s. That was Marilyn Monroe singing I Want to Be Loved by You from Billy Wilder's movie Some Like It Hot. Another one is Peggy Lee's signature song Fever. There was the theme from V Privé entitled Sidonie, performed by Brigitte Bardot. There's performances by Sophia Loren, Julie London, Marlena Dietrich, and Josephine Baker, Françoise Hardy, Gina Lollobrigida, Ava Gardner, and Jane Mansfield. And the closing song on Volume 1 is Rita Hayworth's The Heat Is On. And that one is on a hazy red, crystal clear, and solid red haze colored vinyl. And then the Volume 2 is again more, but it has like Doris Day on that one. More Françoise Hardy, more Marilyn Monroe. Mae West is on that one. And Judy Holliday. Okay, so that one is transparent magenta colored vinyl on 180 gram. Sorry I wasn't able to show it to you. Somehow I feel like we missed Taking Back Sunday in this pile. I don't know what happened, but they also have something new out today. Yeah, it was like, it's called Tell All Your Friends, and it's on Craft Recordings. It was a groundbreaking debut from the Long Island band Taking Back Sunday. Hit singles were Cute Without the E, Great Romances of the 20th Century, and You're So Last Summer. It's a highly acclaimed album. It's influenced artists of all sizes and genres over the last 20 years. So it's the 20th anniversary 2-disc album that's out now. It includes a 10-inch bonus that features 4 previously unreleased demos. It's black vinyl. It's got the bonus. And it's also on cassette in 2 ways. It's like the clear one or the white one. I don't know how we missed that. I think I just stumbled in the pile here. I'm trying so hard to just stay focused and get all the info to you guys. Enjoy your Memorial Day weekend. I hope there was something here that you liked and loved, and you're going to, and try something new. Okay, so I'll see you next Friday. Thank you for hanging with me. I will see you next time. Enjoy. Happy Memorial Day. Bye, everybody.